Back in 2019, the Federal Reserve had found that close to 4 in 10 adults couldn't cover a $400 unexpected expense with a cash equivalent. So with COVID hitting, we all know that the economy has been struggling even more, and $400 isn't even a typical insurance deductible.
K-State Research and Extension is launching a series of free webinars to help participants sharpen their financial skills. The series, Wallet Wisdom, includes 6 webinars that will be presented each Thursday from noon until 1 Central Daylight Time via Zoom. The first session is April 22nd. It focuses on performing a financial checkup. Other topics include emotions and money, spending plans, increasing savings, debt management, and credit. On today's Sound Living, boosting money management skills. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman. The K-State Research and Extension Family Resource Management Program Focus Team, or PFT, developed the free online financial literacy program to allow participants an opportunity to engage in a program that offers total anonymity and confidentiality. Cindy Williams, the Family Resource Management Agent for the Meadowlark District, Riley County Extension Director and Family Resource Management Agent Gary Fike, and Monica Thayer, the Family Resource Management Agent for the River Valley District, were all involved in developing the series. Unlike some other webinars, participants will be able to ask hosts questions without anyone knowing who asked the question. Williams says this creates an environment where people can ask any question and not feel embarrassed, something that people often feel when discussing their finances. Thayer discusses the first Wallet Wisdom webinar, which is set for April 22nd, and again focuses on the basics of performing a financial checkup.
So our financial checkup is actually one of the publications that a couple of the Family Resource Management Extension agents have put together. And so it just goes through a variety of financial topics and has individuals kind of give themselves a rating on how well they are doing. And so when we talk about health, a lot of times we talk about the aspect of your well-being, but your financial health is just as important. So this financial checkup helps identify problems. It can help them chart progress and outline some steps for them to achieve some goals. Dr. Elizabeth Kish and Deb Wood from Central Kansas District are going to be hosting that session on April 22nd.
You'll follow that up on April 29th with emotions and money, probably another thing that comes into play quite often.
I think that's one of the things that people often may not realize is that money is emotional to a lot of people. People are tied to it, and it's probably because of the way they were brought up, their own family financial situation as kids, saying whether their parents place restrictions on them from doing things because we don't have enough money, or those who just went ahead and either spent it or borrowed it to go on and live life as they wanted to live it. So we're all, to some extent, tied emotionally to money and the spending of, the saving of, how we spend it, and what we do with it.
I'm pretty sure the statistic is that 70% of all marriages have issues dealing with money, perhaps are a direct cause of divorces in most cases.
Also, a big part of that is money is power, I think, and sometimes it's different personalities, whoever is paying all the bills, whoever's taking care of most of the banking. Usually you don't have two people in charge of that in a marriage. One person kind of handles all that, and the other person doesn't. Sometimes that person who doesn't maybe would like to, and so you have some power struggles there too, I think.
Well, that kind of moves into the following week then. On May 6th, you're going to be talking about spending plans, which is really kind of tracking your spending.
Yeah, as we talk about spending plans with financial management, of course, spending plans is another fancy word for a budget, right? But budgets sound really restrictive. So when we talk about spending plans, it helps you track that income and your expenses, and it can also help support those money goals that you have. So it's really important so you know what's coming in and what's coming out with those spending plans.
I actually kind of like the way you said that, because I had never really thought of that before, the fact that some terms in finances really do seem a little bit more restrictive. They seem a little bit more maybe authoritarian in a sense. So kind of simplifying that into a language that maybe is more relatable to the couple probably would work better.
Absolutely. Like I said, you say budget and everybody thinks you have to tighten down and you can't spend any money. You say spending plan and it's that light bulb, oh, I actually get to spend my money. But using a spending plan, you get to tell your money where it goes rather than coming up to the end of the month and being short dollars.
And that kind of also brings in the idea of setting some financial goals, things that you want to do in the future.
Absolutely. The analogy for that is if you get on an airplane and you don't know where you're going, you could end up anywhere. But if you have some goals, you know that you want to set both short, midterm, and long-term goals will help you to focus and put your money where you want it to be instead of wondering where it went.
Another topic that you'll focus on May 13th, increasing savings, which also kind of comes right into play. It's almost like you guys set this up with something in mind here. They all kind of flow together. But this is another thing that we're really trying to focus on right now as part of Extension is increasing our savings.
Yeah, and the thing about it is people, we talk about savings, but there's all different kinds of savings, right? You're saving for a college education for a kid, or you're saving for a trip, or you're saving for retirement. I mean, there's so many different kinds of savings. But the one that we're most concerned with right now, I think, is emergency funds that are in the passbook or savings account at the bank that you can simply pull out of when something huge happens, like you have an insurance deductible you have to pay, you have a washing machine or a refrigerator that goes out, those things that suddenly put you in a panic mode. So having some emergency funds and also having a 3 to 6 months worth of savings for in case someone loses their job and trying to make up household expenses with that. And then, of course, the retirement savings would be long-term, and you're looking out into the future. There's a lot of different kinds of savings, and it can't just be bundled up into one, so we'll probably try to differentiate some of those from each other.
I think this is another one of those kind of sticky areas, too, because sometimes this is something that people are afraid of. They feel like, well, I can only save a little bit. It's really not going to make that much of a difference putting away that small amount, but those small amounts add up over time.
Yes, they do, and, I think one of the ones that always kind of surprises me, really the forced savings. So we have HSAs, right? And you get that $50 a month or pay period or whatever, you stick away in that. And if you aren't using it, you look back and say, wow, I've got a pretty good chunk of money in there. And it can work the same way. You can have just a little bit put away, as you say, Jeff. And over time, as long as you don't dip into that, you can have a substantial amount of money to help meet those expenses.
I was just going to say, with COVID, as you were mentioning earlier, back in 2019, the Federal Reserve had found that close to 4 in 10 adults couldn't cover a $400 unexpected expense with a cash equivalent. So with COVID hitting, we all know that the economy has been struggling even more, and $400 isn't even a typical insurance deductible. So, working with people to increase those savings is really important so they can help their financial future and goals.
The adage, too, pay yourself first and then pay the rest. And I think people tend to spend, and then what's left over is savings. And it should be the other way around. Pay yourself first with savings, then go ahead and pay your bills.
Also in line with that is managing your debt as well, because sometimes that can get out of control so that the money you are making really isn't going to you, it's going to somebody else.
As we were talking about this topic, of course, we're all financial management agents, so we help with this realm, but we definitely live in a society where we look at what everybody else has and we think that we need that brand new house, that brand new car. And when we are going through a pandemic and we're having financial struggles, even before the pandemic, we were having people financially struggling to make ends meet. So just talking about how to manage debt, how to get those debts paid off so that you aren't living paycheck to paycheck and paying somebody else instead of yourself.
And I think there's the adage, too, of it's not a matter of if you're going to need emergency money, it's a matter of when you're going to need it. There's all kinds of things that come up, and unfortunately then people have to find other means for paying or covering those bills or turning to high-interest loans or payday loans, and we're hoping they're not doing that, but they're just preparing for that rainy day when that comes around.
The final topic you're going to cover on May 27th is all about credit, and I think that's kind of what we're alluding to is the fact that there are a number of opportunities related to credit, but some of that is based on credit scores, your credit reports, and things like that. It's not just necessarily credit cards.
Right, and we want to work on helping people understand that your credit report and your credit score are two different things, but they do correlate, and how you can build that credit report, credit score without being in debt. And so we're not necessarily saying that credit cards are bad. They are a tool that you can use, but you have to use those tools smart in order to make it work for you. And so that's why we want to talk about credit and give some more people information about how best to use that credit.
We also have another program, Jeff, and it's called Check Your Credit, which is a new program. Monica and I have been working on that program with some other people, and it's a general reminder that you can check your credit every 3 to 4 months, just so you know where your credit score is if you need to buy something or a home or take out a loan or whatever the case may be. And that's the time to identify if there's any identity theft. Hopefully you can get that corrected. But 1 out of 3 people have errors on their credit report, so it's important to catch it early. So if you have a common name like Jones or Smith or something, it's a high probability that you could get mixed up, and so it's time to tackle it while it's fairly young in the problem and stuff. So.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, you can roll those through because you can get a free credit report from all of the reporting agencies every year. So if you stagger those, you're pretty much covered through the whole year.
And that's what Check Your Credit is all about. That's a different program altogether, but that's a new program that we started about a year ago, and so we're in our second year of that as well.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any statistics, but I'm wondering if the participation rate in terms of getting those credit reports is pretty low, because I'm thinking most people probably only do it if they suspect there's a problem.
I think it's about, in Kansas, I think it's close to either 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 check their credit report. And so a lot of times people think about credit scores, but your credit score is made up of what's on your credit report. So if you're monitoring your credit report, then that can help you increase that credit score by monitoring it.
Actually, Kansas ranks near the bottom of the 50 states for a number of people that check their credit report. So Check Your Credit is all about helping and encouraging Kansas to take a look and make sure everything's correct on there. And if you need to dispute it, then do that. You don't want to find out there's an error, you need to buy a home or a car or something like that, because it can take months to get some of that dispute corrected.
Well, as you said at the beginning, this is a series that is really designed to just sharpen those money management skills, and people who take part in 1, 2, or all 6 of these webinars will learn a lot and probably have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to thinking things through financially.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, they'll have a chance to talk to the host. It's a private conversation between the host and the person asking that question. Another thing that's going to happen with these programs is that they will all be recorded so they can go back and refer to them later. They'll be held on Thursdays from 12 to 1. We do ask that you register for them. That is required, but there is no fee or registration of money required for it. It's so you can get the link is why you're being asked to register. And there will be a short evaluation sent that we hope that they would fill that out to give us some feedback.
I'd just like to say I think this is timely. I think that people can participate in this, hopefully at a convenient time for them. Hopefully they'll sit in on 1 or 2 that maybe at least have the most bearing on them, whether it's debt, whether it's savings, whether it's credit report, or just simply a financial check sheet. I think getting control of your finances can make life so much easier for people, because we just see so many people struggling, and there's so many people that just need more help with their finances, and they may not even realize it.
And what is the best way for them to sign up for this? How can they find that registration information?
All the registration is online. It is a bit.ly link, so bit.ly/walletwisdom2021, all lowercase.
That's Monica Thayer, the Family Resource Management Agent for the River Valley District, along with Riley County Extension Director and Family Resource Management Agent Gary Fike, and Cindy Williams, the Family Resource Management Agent for the Meadowlark District. They were all involved in developing subject matter for Wallet Wisdom, a series of free webinars to help participants sharpen their financial skills. Again, the first of 6 webinars, A Financial Checkup, is April 22nd from noon until 1 Central Daylight Time via Zoom. Other webinars include Emotions and Money on April 29th, Spending Plans on May 6th, Increasing Savings on May 13th, Debt Management on May 20th, and All About Credit on May 27th. To register for the free webinars, go to bit.ly/walletwisdom2021. bit.ly/walletwisdom2021. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman, and this is the K-State Radio Network.